Hi there, and welcome to Q&A Wednesday. I am Melissa Fillmore of Fillmore Fitness, and I have a great topic for us as usual. It's not a super long one, but you know what? I decided I wanted to give my top 5 tips to reaching the best ways to reach your weight loss, which of course, you know, I don't care much for that term for many reasons, or your health goal. So just in general, the top 5 tips that I have to get you to your health goal. So that's what we're going to talk about today. I had an incredible weekend this weekend. For those of you who haven't seen my posts, I was in San Francisco. I don't think I've ever been in San Francisco before, except for maybe at the airport. And so had a great time, got to go do some sightseeing. So it was a really incredible weekend, working with a great photographer. So anyway, so today we are talking about my 5 tips in helping you reach your health goal. You know, and it really, most of us are trying to we want to look better, we want to feel better. But like I said, you know, my least favorite term is weight loss. And the reason is because the scale does not give you enough information when it comes to whether or not you're actually succeeding in your health goals. Because it's really, I'm not going to say that it's easy to lose weight because it's not, but there's ways to do it that aren't so healthy. And of course, then you're losing the wrong thing. And so it doesn't really, you know, it doesn't really tell you if you are on the right track. So we're going to talk a little bit just in general, health goals. And it comes down to, for me, I would rather focus on fat loss versus weight loss. But you know, it could just be you want to feel better, you want to look better, you want to fit your clothes better. You want to have more energy. I know that's a big one. As I get older, you know, I'm not quite the same woman that I used to be. I'm not 20 anymore. And I love to bounce off the walls. So for me, energy is a big part of it. I want to make sure that I'm feeding my body the right fuel, the right nutrients in order to be able to keep up with what I want to accomplish still in my lifetime. So here's my top 5. It's super simple. This isn't going to take long today, guys. And I do post these when I'm finished. I know a lot of people pop on and say that they missed the 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time post, but you know, I post it when I'm done so that you can watch it at any time. I know some of you are on your cardio equipment when you're watching this, which is awesome. I do a lot of that as well, just because I like to tune out when I'm doing my cardio. Thanks, Paul. Paul just gave me a compliment. He says I look amazing. So thank you. Anyhow, okay, so top 5 tips. You guys, these are super simple. You know what? My biggest tip is make sure that you're cleaning things up. You know, it doesn't matter to me what your health goal is. You know, if you're eating a bunch of garbage, you're going to feel like it. You know, there's a big difference between eating clean and of course there's different definitions of what eating clean is. You know, I'm just talking about just eat as much whole food as possible. When you eat a lot of processed food and sugar and refined sugars, enriched flour, not that you shouldn't eat them ever, but you shouldn't eat them on a regular basis. The cleaner that you eat on a regular basis, then when you eat those things that you love and, you know, that maybe your vice or the things that you really love, like donuts. I had a very disappointing situation with donuts right after my competition a few weeks ago. So kind of on a not happy level with donuts. But when you eat clean on a regular basis, eating those things once in a while isn't going to affect you the same as when you do that on a regular basis. You know, our bodies were not designed to eat a ton of processed food, and it does have a negative effect on whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. You know, whenever I eat so clean now, and I have for several years now, that when I do eat something that is processed, or honestly, I cannot eat deep fried foods at all. I pretty much have to decide, even things like ice cream, you know, I am lactose intolerant. And so things like that, I have to make a big decision as to whether or not I'm okay with the fact that I'm going to feel miserable for about 24 to 48 hours after I eat something like that. And sometimes it's just really not worth it. You know, I want to feel good. I want to feel good about how I'm feeling at the moment, and bloated and miserable and feeling kind of nauseated is not really my idea of fun. So especially if you have a long ways to go, let's say that you really do need to lose a good amount of weight. Your doctors told you that, you know, losing 10% of your weight is going to make a huge difference. Trying to lose some of that. So there are times where it's appropriate to lose some weight as long as it's coming from the right thing. We want it to come from fat loss. Just even cleaning up your diet can make a huge difference. And the more that you have to go, some of those simple, easy, I know they don't sound easy because they can be very mentally and emotionally difficult, especially if, like me, you are addicted to food. It's sometimes very difficult to do, but just making some small changes will make a huge difference. So, you know, shop the outside of the grocery store, focus on lean proteins, complex carbs, fresh fruits and vegetables. if you can't grow it or kill it, I heard that once. If you can't grow it or kill it, you probably shouldn't be putting it in your body. If it really honestly has more than like 5 or 6 ingredients, you probably shouldn't be eating it. Things that are shelf stable shouldn't be a daily part of every meal that you eat, because again, your body was not designed to deal with additives and preservatives. So what does it do with those? It stores them in body fat, okay? Number 2, drink more water. Some of us are really good at that. Some of us are not. And honestly, for those of us that are like, well, I can't really afford to, do anything crazy. I can't afford to join a gym, or I can't afford to pay a trainer. For the most part in America, water is free. At least it comes through the tap. You are able to go to a drinking fountain and fill your water bottle. It's the easiest, least expensive thing that makes the biggest difference. Your body needs water to flush. You'll find that your skin will look better, your body will look better. And I'm very aware that when you first increase your water, you're going to have to pee more often. Get over it. Your body will actually adjust, and your natural diurese will adjust to that. But it just makes such a big difference. When people come to me to start changing their lifestyle, my idea is to change one thing at a time. It's really difficult to try and change too many things at once, because as soon as you get overwhelmed, you're going to quit. So my first 2 things that I usually tell people is, number 1, track your food, and number 2, drink more water. It just makes such a big difference. So that's my second tip. Number 3, make sure that you're making whatever choice it is, whatever goal it is that you're working for, make it a long-term focus. We talk so much in social media and just media in general about diets and let's go do keto, and whatever it is that you do, you realize that whatever it takes to get you there, you have to keep doing in order to stay there. You can't do keto for 6 months and then go back to the same garbage you were doing before and expect to stay there. I'm not a fan of keto, by the way. You've got to make sure that it's a long-term, it's a lifestyle. You're going to hear that over and over and over again, but it really is. You're smarter to make 1 or 2 changes at a time. Say, drink more water, track your food, don't bring garbage home, don't bring the processed food home. Work with your family to, the rule at my house is, I don't care if you eat it, but don't bring it home, because I don't want to see it and I don't want to be tempted by it. I'm already aware I have an unhealthy relationship with food. And when the times that I struggle the most is when I'm stressed out, and I will dig for chocolate when I get to that point. And if it's hiding in the house, or if somebody's brought junk home, it's really difficult to stay away from it. So, training my family to work with that is super important. So make those smaller changes and really focus on making those habits for the rest of your life versus, I can do anything for 3 months. That's great. Can you do it forever? It makes a big difference. The only time a diet is appropriate is when you've already got the basics down, right? You're already eating well. You know how much you should be eating. You're eating clean foods. You can control what you're doing. You know the difference between hunger and hunger, because there is a huge difference. Then you might think about a temporary, something like getting on stage for me is temporary. I do go on a diet, but then I reverse diet back to a healthy situation when I'm finished. That's the only time that's appropriate, is if you know that it's going to be short term and you have a plan for it and you already have the basics of being healthy down. All right, number 4. Oh, I love this one. Guys, stop looking for loopholes and cheats. There's no way that you are going to be overall healthy if you're always looking for, that one ice cream that has more protein. Guys, it's still sticking, has sugar, and it's still a processed food. Same with protein bars. You can't out-cheat science. You can't find loopholes and expect to get there doing the things that aren't, it's just not going to make you healthy. So stop looking for gimmicks. Stop looking for that one pill, that one secret thing that's going to make it all work. You can't have your cake and eat it too. Let's just say that. You can't eat all the garbage that you're addicted to and be healthy, right? You can do it once in a while and probably get away with it, but on a regular basis, if you're eating protein cookies and protein bars and protein ice cream, you guys, that still has a lot of sugar. It's still a processed food. Your body is going to treat it as such. And the closer that you get to your goal, the more important it is to stay away from that kind of nonsense, right? Sandy, you're funny, honey. She says, can't I just take a pill? Well, you can, but you're not going to get the results that you want. It really is important. I think it's okay to focus on being efficient. And if there's ways to get to that point, I call that finding your groove, actually. That's not a bad thing. If there's certain things that I do that get me through, staying out of sugar and doing some of those things. But I know that I'm trying to be efficient. I'm not trying to out-cheat science, because there's just no way to do that. I think it's really important that you also avoid all the gimmicks and the garbage that you see on TV. You know what? They're just trying to sell you something. I hate January. I can't stand watching TV. I really struggle with it. I start throwing things at my TV. I start screaming. My family knows that I just hate the commercials, because they're all based on, hey, come buy our product. Hey, look at this really cool butt building tool. Yeah, it costs you 50 cents to make, and you're selling it to me for $99. You guys are full of garbage. Just go do what it takes. It's going to take some work. It's not difficult. You just have to focus and make a plan. And that's really important. So the gimmicks, the diets, the pills, the supplements. And here's my little tick for supplements. Supplements aren't necessarily bad, but you cannot out-supplement a bad diet. You cannot out-exercise a bad diet. It will show up somehow in one form or another. So you're better off to make small changes in multiple categories. Do some cardio, get over it, learn to tune out. I watch Netflix when I do cardio, or I watch some personal development or self-motivation situation. You're going to have to do some strength training. You're not going to get bulky, ladies. I know I talk about this all the time. Ladies, you do not produce enough testosterone, nor do you eat enough food to get bulky. Strength training is important because that's where your balance comes in. That's where your shape comes in. That's where your strength comes in. And the older you get, the more important that is. So Nancy says, so time, patience, and consistency is the key. Yes, thank you. It really is. It's creating the right habits. For me growing up, it really was about not being educated on how to be healthy. It wasn't that I wasn't willing to try. I just really didn't know how. They don't teach enough in schools about how to eat well. Because, honestly, think about it. What do they call, they consider pizza a vegetable when it comes to school lunches, which I find fascinating and ridiculous. So you're not going to learn what you need to know in school. And if you're not extremely athletic to start with, which I wasn't at all, they really don't cater to teaching kids to love exercise. They're even cutting recess short at this point. So, our kids might get a couple of times outside for 10 minutes. And if it's raining, they're stuck inside. There really is no support for learning how to be healthy as we're, growing up. And so if your parents don't teach you, which, bless my mother's heart, she just didn't know. It's really hard to adopt some of those things and those lifestyles if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. So it took me till I was 34, 35 years old to start learning to strength train, which of course changed my life, and learning some of the things that really made a big difference. And it took me longer to figure out the food. I still bought into the concept of, okay, I'm gonna have to sacrifice. I can't eat anything. I'm gonna have to eat like 1,200 calories, which is garbage. If you don't think so, read my book, ebook on Amazon. It's called 1,200 Calorie Diets and Other BS. And it's everything I think about the most common trending diets today. All right. So avoid those things. And my fifth tip is, instead of focusing on results, because sometimes that's hard. Number one, you don't always have the results that you think you should have at that point. I think sometimes we have this idea that, if I just get started, Nancy says she loves my book. Thank you. If I just get started, all of a sudden, in 3 weeks, I'm going to look like Melissa does. You guys, it doesn't work that way. You can't undo decades worth of not eating well, not exercising. You can't undo that in 3 weeks. So, instead of focusing on how your body is or is not changing, focus on the efforts. Focus on your goal being, I need to get to the gym 3 days a week for 45 minutes. That's a much better goal. Plus, rewarding yourself for that. Aren't you more motivated to keep going if you see yourself accomplishing something? And then, hey, I'm really enjoying this. I'm going to go buy myself a new water bottle or a new pair of gloves to lift, or whatever it is that gets you excited. That's a much better goal and a much better focus than, hey, I'm going to drop 10 pounds. Or I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a goal of maybe dropping a couple of pant sizes, but don't be disappointed there if your body is not responding the way you think it should. Science works a specific way, and sometimes you don't even know all the variables, right? There's a formula. You need to do certain things. You need to eat better. You need to do some cardio. You need to strength train. You need to sleep better. You need to avoid stress. There might be another variable in there that you don't know about. You might really struggle because of your DNA. You might have a cortisol issue. You might have a thyroid issue that you don't know about. So instead of focusing on whether or not your body's responding or whether or not you're getting to that point, results wise, focus on the efforts that you're putting into it, because you're going to be able to celebrate and reward yourself for that. So those are my 5 tips. I know they're very generalized, but of course everybody's goals are different. You guys, I've worked with people who are trying to gain weight. I've worked with people who they're tired of having to take medication. Maybe they've had an injury and they've had it for so long, they don't know what to do about it. And they've really struggled through physical therapy and some other things that aren't working for them. So it has to kind of be a little bit generalized, but it really applies to every style and every type of goal that you might have. Just focus on those basics, because you're going to see results. Anyway, so hopefully that helps you all. That is my response to the question for today. You guys, I get my best ideas from you. So please, if you have a question, either put a response or a comment down below. You can message me directly. You could email me, but my email's been weird lately. So, message me directly, ask your questions, because we'll talk about it next week. So until then, hey Phil, until then, have an incredible week and enjoy the weather. I'm enjoying it as well. Have a good night, guys. Bye.